YouTube, what's going on? It's Colton here. Now, I know an hour-long video doesn't scream excitement, but I've been away over the last 9 to 10 days, and I had to go ahead and recap what has gone on in the markets for everybody. So last night, we did a mid-market review, walking through what happened at the end of last week for NFP, what happened over Labor Day, and what we'll be looking into for the rest of this week as we really ramp things up over Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So a full technical breakdown of all Forex pairs. I don't go into indices on this particular call, but we will be touching on them later this week. Be sure to stay tuned into the channel. We'll be finishing up the confirmation checklist series super soon, doing time of day and Fibonacci retracements. If you like this content, make sure to leave me a thumbs up. Go ahead and even hit subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoy today's market breakdown, and hopefully you could use something in this video to help you later on. And just as a quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor or professional. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Profit and learn inside of these markets. So let's get to the charts. It's lit. So again, let's see where we got everybody tuning in from. Connecticut, Canada, Virginia, Georgia, Nigeria, a couple from Atlanta, Trinidad, the Caribbean. It's lit. Love y'all. So before we go into the technical side, right, I definitely want to walk through Forex Factory, the news of the economic events, whether it's like a Bloomberg or Wall Street Journal. But for most Forex, and that's what we're going to focus on for this call, we'll do one maybe Thursday night over the indices and stocks. But for right now, what we want to do is go ahead and look at forexfactory.com. So this is where I do pretty much all of my fundamental work. Everybody knows that on Friday, right, we had non-farm employment changes, the unemployment rates for the dollar and the Canadian dollar. We had a holiday coming up, Labor Day. So we have big news on Friday, and then expect the markets to be closed for 3 straight days, and then nothing going on Tuesday. So think about it, right? We're here to play along with the institution. So what do you think all the people with money are doing from Saturday to Tuesday morning? They're taking time off. They're enjoying time with their families. They're not inside of the markets participating. So what does that mean? That you all should be doing the same. You should be in the same mindset that, hey, when they're not up and running, I'm not up and running. I don't need to be in the markets. If they're not in the markets, are there going to be opportunities? Absolutely. We already know that there's opportunities 24/7, right? Because we trade crypto the same way. But understanding and just looking at economic calendar, you could have saved yourself from getting burned Sunday, Monday, Tuesday if you tried to trade, understanding that, hey, most stuff isn't going to start to make sense till Wednesday. This is when everybody starts opening back up and getting to it for the week, right? So Wednesday we got some Canadian news in the morning. Thursday you got some Euro news, and other than that, kind of a shorter week when it comes to news. Nothing too crazy. For everybody to tune into the last YouTube video, I'm not going to go over the dollar index. We understand that we're overall bearish on the index, right? Because we're seeking this imbalance price here. But we also talked about the possibility of that bullish side retracement back towards 95. And as last week's candle printed, and for the first 3 days so far this week, we can see that evidence of price wanting to move back to the upside. So as we go look at a daily time frame, now you also want to remember from my last video was posted on the 31st, and this is the 31st candle, and we had talked about the possibility of running these lows, trading into the price of 92, and then seeing that bullish reaction. So what did we see mid last week into the rest of this week? We've seen that bullish reaction, right? Let me go ahead and show you how powerful this is on a 4-hour time frame. But when we were together on last video, we were like, hey, here's this pool of money. Let's run this money down into the 92 price, and look how they draw one candle through 92. And now we've traded back to our higher highs, right? Go check it out on the last video. Maybe I'll even throw in a little clip here. But now let's look at the hour, right? And again, you're going to see that same evidence on a smaller time frame. So if you would have been looking at it from the start of the week, right here, right? Week opens, we trade sideways, we run up to the highs, they drop one candle, trade back at the lows, and then we trade up in fluent price action, right? Hang out, drop low, down candle, move up, drop low, sweep 50%, drive up, and we've had very clean price action. So that's what I'm saying. If you haven't caught any of the, the pullbacks here, that's fine. You're just going to keep on waiting and wait till we get to our next area, right? When it comes to the dollar index, we got this little price here that we could be working with. But once we move through this price at 93.80, we're going to be looking for higher targets. But overall, if you guys want to go ahead and mark this down, right, what do you want to be looking at for this week? I'm really focused on this 93.80 price for the DXY. 93.80 level, right? This is where my focus is going to be. Now, could this market, and again, all this other retracements have been nice. We do have this little imbalance here. So if market wanted to trade lower to start off London and then move up during New York, that's exactly the clean price action that you would want to see. So does everybody feel comfortable with the dollar index? Go ahead and drop a 111 in the chat for me. I know I went over this a lot over the last YouTube video, so I don't want to touch on it too much. I really want to go ahead and relate this to other pairs so you guys can actually talk about setups, right? And not just the influence of the dollar index, but everybody does need to understand the power in it. Because like I showed you, when you're comparing the two, it's going to help you so much when you're looking at other currency pairs. As for a fact, GU this week, 111. So you're expecting a slight retrace off of 93.80. So what I would want to do, Malik, is once price reaches 93.80, I'm either going to say, okay, has this given me any signs of bearishness, or is this just going to be a short-term pit stop to go ahead and continue reaching higher prices? Now, also, you guys want to think about if the market's traded up, right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, late Wednesday night, we get up here, right? And then for some reason, Thursday morning, we make the weekly high and then trade down a little bit, right? The market's only going to move so far. So for the fact that we've started at, the 93 whole level for the week, and we've traded up to the 80 level, we just want to see if we can get evidence of redistribution up here before we just sell off rip, right? Yeah, it will be on YouTube. We're recording it. So awesome questions. But let's go ahead and look at GU, right? Because this, again, the dollar index aligns perfectly with how GU's price actions played out this week, right? Higher time frame. I'll show you exactly what I do. Let's start on a weekly. What do I want to look for? How did you get that 93.80? So that's literally the price of the dollar index right there. Right now, there's a couple reasons. And I'm going to go back to it because I want to be here for y'all's questions, right? Look how this price at 93.80 lines up, right? Look left to get right. Grab a horizontal line, right? Price has gotten to here. So let's look left of anything of where price has already reached at 93.58. As we look left, we can see that there's no major imbalances that lie inside of this price action. Everything's been retraced back into. But what we do have is this last little up push before the fast down move. So this is a candle that I could be targeting. And again, the same things that I'm showing you here on the dollar index is applicable to GU, golds, it doesn't matter. Even though you're not necessarily going to take a setup on this, it's the same concept across the board. So I look at this and I say, all right, if there were to be a level that market were to want to retrace between here and here, my best chances aren't in here. It's once we get near this candle, once we get towards these small little, and again, I'm not really going to call this an imbalance, but there still is a little, slip in price right there. But overall, you would want to see it. Hey, can we get any rejection from the 50% to the open of this candle here? What lies right below that? Your 90, your 80 levels. A lot of people like to trade their 20 and 80 levels. So what I would be looking for is once price comes up and reaches 93.80, can we get that evidence that the market wants to redistribute, right? High, high, stop run high into our area to go ahead and trade, you know, maybe back to this imbalance, right? Whatever it may be. If we leave this imbalance open, that'll be perfect. It'll give us a target to end the week. But this is what my mind wants to think, right? This is what I want to see play out. And then all you got to do is just execute that, right, on the other currencies that you're looking at. So let's look at GU. Starting from the weekly, what do I see? You want to look for, you know, imbalances, just anything that catches your eye, right? We obviously see the big down move. We've retraced back up into it, right? We see all these little wicks of price action. So let's go ahead and just equal these off as some equal pools of money. So we understand we have a lot of money sitting up here. What do you see above the money, right? We had this nice buy to sell candle with all of this imbalance. Now, again, this is on a weekly time frame. So as intraday traders, right, we just need this for a bigger time bias, right? And then overall, you know, we don't need to mark it up right now, but we do have, right, this institutional up candle. So that's all there. Now, what are our possibilities to the downside, right? Sell candle, buy back up. We had a nice retracement into it. We had a sell candle, buy back up, nice retracement, filled all imbalance, buy back up. And if you guys can see, this is pretty much the imbalance that you have to work with if you're going to wait for lower prices to be met, right? And as you see, we're starting to get that retracement back into here, right? So now on a weekly time frame, I've went ahead and identified, all right, where's our biggest pool of liquidity? Where's our major imbalance areas, right? We're in a downtrending market since April 2018. We had a nice Corona induced candle that reached below all other prices. And now we've traded back into a higher pool of liquidity. Looks a lot like a phase A, right? To me, it looks a lot like a schematic like we would want to look for, right? A phase A, a phase B of consolidation, right? And then you get a, right, phase C of your spring. And then this was pretty much a higher test, but over than that, you just want to catch whatever of a markup that you can catch in this price action to reach overall higher targets. So everything makes sense here, right? And this is all just bigger time frame work. So let's go into the daily. Right now, you just want to see if your bigger time analysis is going to match up to what the smaller time frames are telling you. And if it's telling the same story over and over and over again, then you should have pretty, you know, high probabilities of a trade that you might want to get in. So as we go down to the daily, right, I'm really not going to worry about any prices that are higher than this because that's already, you know, 450, you know, 400, 500 pips away. So let's focus in here. So overall, this weekly imbalance is still pretty true, you know, to the daily. We could definitely knock it down a little bit, right? As we see in here, we had a nice wick retracement, wick retracement, wick retracement, and then in here also nice retracements. Now, what's funny, the 50% of this weekly imbalance is almost the same as this daily imbalance. See that? So let me go ahead and delete the weekly one. So we have a confluence of 50% imbalances on the weekly and the daily right here at a price of 28.14, which is also very close to the whole price of 2,800, right? So now I've taken that 4-hour or that weekly big imbalance and knocked it down to something small, right? Is there deeper retracements down here? Yes. Is there deeper down here? Yes. But first, I want to be looking here. Also, what do you see? It's actually the old area, right, of a resistance. So again, it makes sense, right? They're not just here, you know, randomly, right? It's all here to tell a story. It's all here to come back and play into the areas that they were meant to play at. So again, that's where I'd be targeting for lower prices when it comes to GBP USD, right? This is the only imbalance until we get down to here near 2600. As we look right now, right, we've just on the last day cleared a whole bunch of liquidity hanging out right here, right? We've cleared all of this. So we've been able to knock down a shorter term, right, area where we could possibly buy this up to continue, you know, to the upside, right? So I'm not going to mark up this daily imbalance because, I mean, it's pretty big and there's a lot of area for us to come retrace into, right? We also have, you know, this slippage in price here, that daily imbalance again. But, right, we had this slippage here in price, which again is just going to be a future target for when we come higher. But other than that, not a whole lot. I want to be looking at the daily. Now, again, the narrative for this week has just been selling. There's been really no big opportunities to get back into the market. But let me just, it's going to make a lot more sense when we look at the hour. Market opens, hangs out, trades lower, right? Trades lower, hangs out, and it's literally just traded lower, right? Unless you got in on one of these smaller pullbacks here, right? Anywhere in here, small pullback here, you would have just had to let this thing fall. And we're going to let it to continue to fall until 2,900 and then reevaluate. 2,800 and then reevaluate. That's just personally how I like to do it. You know, again, if it moves up from here, what do you want to look at? And we'll go over a little bit of trade management too, right? If this were to pop up, right, you guys can already see it. You had this buy move here, right, just to sell off fast. We obviously have all this imbalance in here. So again, based on whatever you want to trade, whatever you want to risk, right, you could take entries, you know, 30.25 and 30.53. So this is about, you know, 25, 30 pips here, but also this is where you can go into smaller time frames and make it even easier for yourself, right? What do you see? This big area of imbalance. So what if you just maybe took like the 50% of that, right? Now you're entering at 36 with a stop at like 53, right? So now you're down to about a 18 to 20 pip stop loss. So it just depends on how long you want to wait for it. But again, right now, I'm just showing you guys a narrative that the market has continued to fall since Sunday. And again, Sunday gave clean plays, right? Consolidate, drive down, right? What did they drive down into? This last little bit of structure. They trade back up near and into a last little buy candle, traded down, equaled lows, retested, and fell through. Right, and then all of this here that happened early London on Tuesday morning as well. But, you know, for GU, I didn't position myself in this to start the week, and I've had to let it fall pretty much all week. Now, we can go into other currency pairs, and we'll see if any other, you know, setups really happen for that. But for GU, I'm really just going to let it do its thing. We have this going on Thursday. So I'm going to see how things look Thursday. But we could be more interested in maybe a UCAD play, right? So I'm pretty much going to leave GU where it's at. Does anybody have any questions over GU, any concerns? Do you guys agree with me? If you have a chart on GU, you know, have you taken a trade on it this week? Or does that make sense that it's pretty much traded down along with the dollar, right? Because again, if you go to the dollar, right, bullish price action, GU, just straight bearish price action. Cool, yeah. And again, it's cool. It's perfect for me. GU's my pair, right? Like, it's literally the pair that I trade the most. And it's honestly not out of the ordinary for me to not take a trade on it sometimes. Right? Because if it doesn't give me the setup, there's no pair, there's no reason why to. I have so many other things to choose from. Beautiful. So let's get it right. Beautiful. Love it. So we're on the 4-hour chart. We've had price fall down, right? And look, see how this new area of support, right, matches with these 4-hour areas of support. So makes sense. We could get that short-term retracement, right, back into old structure, into the last up candle, or right, price could continue to trade back up into that retail trend line and overall into those higher imbalance areas, right? So again, both of these make absolute amazing sense. It's not always about catching it out of the air and buying it to the upside. It's about waiting for it to get to your sell points, having that proper risk management, and taking the setup. But it's completely bearish and running away. Exactly. So I don't want to try to buy it up by any means. I've been getting good setups on the 5-minute and 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Exactly, Wilder. And that's something that, and that's something I haven't touched on even on my YouTube channel yet, is the time of day. And again, guys, if it gets to, what Wilder's saying, that, hey, if GU got to his zone, but it was like 7 p.m., it was like mid-Asian session, and he was seeing a setup on the hour time frame, he probably wouldn't take it. But if he was watching that pair during London on a smaller time frame, then his setup could be there, right? Are you waiting for it to play out the schematic? Always, Caesar, right? Always. So like we were talking about on the dollar index, I just want to keep seeing evidence of reaccumulation and redistribution in high volume areas, right? Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. But cool, perfect. I think that answers our questions for GU. So again, yep, love this chart. We'll be looking at those same things. But let's move on, right? So we're going to touch on indices and indexes on Thursday. I'll touch on gold real quick, just because this is actually the one that made me want to do this, because I actually broke it down from the weekly and I thought it was super clean. So I feel like you guys should be able to take away a little bit out of gold as well. So let me talk for a couple minutes and then we will review it. So looking at the weekly, right? What do I see? What do I do every time I come to the chart? I look for overall trend, right? Overall market structure trend. Trend is bullish, right? I think we all can agree. What is your favorite time to trade? My first 2 years, it was London, but honestly, there's so many opportunities during New York, and New York's also the most consistent time for you to have a normal day when you start venturing into just doing more than just trading in this, that, and the other. So I've been conditioning myself for New York lately, just so I could have that morning routine trade and then have my day, versus always staying up, sleeping through noon, taking naps. But I've had so many different sleeping schedules, along the way too. Sometimes I stay up for London, take a nap, and you're up for New York. But that's just how it goes. So again, overall, we're bullish, right? We can see this very nice, 3 candle drive up. We had a nice engulfing week down, right? You guys could go ahead and point out, hey, look, on the weekly time frame, we do have an imbalance down here, right? And other than that, there's not a whole lot to point out, right? Yes, we do have this last up candle engulfing down that pretty much played off of 50%, but that's already pretty much happened. And other than the imbalance, I'm good. I understand that we've been bullish, right? So now we go down to the daily. And what is price done now? So does that weekly imbalance zone match up on a day, right? Perfect. Look at this right here, right? Both of these candles, right? Full bullish candle, closes, opens, full bullish candle. So literally the 50% of that imbalance is the open and close of those days. So that's beautiful right there at a price of 1840. So this is definitely where we want to be looking, right? You can see that they pulled this wick down just to create that second pool of money for when they do come near these prices later, right? So weekly imbalance to the daily looks perfect. Now let's move into here, right? Again, what did we have? We had that last up candle. We had a down move. It looks like we had a nice 50% play of that up candle. And then what did we do? We tanked. What happens after the market tanks and takes most of the liquidity? We're going to see it trade back up. Now, this is the cool thing about this, right? Now, I'm not going to do any replay modes for this one, so we don't get too caught up in it. And perfect, I'll be looking at gold charts after. What do, right? They come trade down to equal out money here for a later time target. And then they created, right, all of this imbalance of price, right? They created all of this imbalance of price. So what did they do over the next couple of days? They slowly start to trade into the imbalance of price, right? Until ultimately, what do? They get up to where there's very little to no imbalance left, and then they trade back down, right? So just understanding, right? The same thing that they did this on the daily, you could go do that on the 5-minute during core London session and, you know, have yourself a very high probability trade setup, right? So again, trades back up, fills most of the imbalance. What do? We trade lower, and then ultimately, right, consolidate. And then what do? We come and trade, you know, up candle, down move, liquidity, trade up, right? Nice retracement, 50%. Now we've traded down, and ultimately, right, we're pretty much just making a really nice, bigger pool of money right here. And that's all just from the weekly and the daily time frame, right? So higher time frame, imbalance, up candle, nice down move. We've had nice retracement number 1, nice retracement number 2, and we have money building up to the downside, right? What do we also have? We have a strong US dollar, right? Perfect. So let's go down to a 4-hour time frame. Perfect. So as we go down to the 4-hour time frame, what's our imbalance look like? Right? Imbalance still looks good, right? All of this has been filled in, but anything under near this 50% and down is still open. So check this out. Would it make sense for them to come drop the market to 1840? Let's watch this, right? If market were to trade down to 1840, would it make sense for them to just equal out money right here for the short term, to go ahead and just trade higher, to then trade lower to take this imbalance, right? So again, I'm just showing you guys that it still makes sense. They could give that short-term play here and then still move higher. So as we look here, right, I'm going to delete this. What do you guys see? You see a nice institutional candle, you know, order block, whatever it is, right? They drop down, candle down, traded back above. What have we done with this candle here, right? It's given you, and I'll go ahead and just mark off the 50% so you guys can see it play very nicely. Let me delete the fib, right? What do? Trade off the open, trade off the open, trade off the 50%, right? And now ultimately, right, we've already made that play. So this candle's invalidated, and now we are here. So I'm overall bearish, right? Strong dollar, bearish targets. Now, is there anything that could pull us up to the upside, right? Small little imbalance here, not really worried about it as we get up here. Yes, we have something up here, but we also understand the big pools of liquidity we have right here. So I do really want to see some lower prices to see if we could trade into here. Now, you might be noticing, hey, Colton, right? Could this be an institutional candle, right? It absolutely could be, right? Liquidity, drops below liquidity, trades back above, and we've actually already had that open play, right? But now as you go start tuning into smaller time frames, right, that setup might not be looking the greatest, right? When did that setup occur? 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So yeah, if you were looking, right, if that candle happened and you took this, or no, you wouldn't even been taking that because you're waiting for this pullback. When did it pull back to the market, right? This is like 7 p.m. I'm sorry, 9 p.m. So we wouldn't be taking this mitigation play at 9 p.m. for gold, even though it played, right? And it would have given you 40 or so points, right? For most people, you know, that's quite a bit, even on a 0.01 for you guys' accounts. But, you know, again, do you want to take that at 9 p.m.? No, not really. Wait for a New York setup. And that's why that's probably not going to be long term. And as you look at it, right, like it took so long to reject off of this that it pretty much just left a bunch of buy orders. I think there's just like a false buy up, and for us to really just, really continue down, because as we look at this price action, right, everything's been traded into wick, right? There's really nothing. So it's like, I don't see very many high side targets that gold could want to go to. I'm thinking she's pretty much just going to sell off through 1900 and start getting to some smaller prices, right? And as you look down on the 15-minute, right, again, you obviously want to wait for the right time of day. But hey, if this is something, if you're very bearish on it and you really want to be looking for something, right, wait for London and see what happens inside of, this structure. All you got to do is understand you're going to throw your stop loss up above the recent high, and you pretty much go from there. Let's look at it here, right? And this is where you go into the smaller time frame. Right now, you're in the smaller time frame. You see, hey, look, ultimately, this was that buy structure up. So we want to look at maybe the open of the buy structure, maybe the 50% of the buy structure. Let me change this color, right? What do you notice about the open of this buy structure? It's also the open of this buy structure to sell off that has the only imbalance left in price. So 1935 looks like a great price. Now, do you want to risk 50 points? Depending on your risk management, maybe not, right? But I'm just showing you guys that, these are those moves that you want to look for. And hey, if you take this, maybe you throw your stop here, right? If you're a 20 pip, 25 pip stop person, throw it here. If it stops you out, perfect, right? You could lose 4 out of 5 times and literally still make money. It's not about being right all the time. Favorite pairs, mine's GU, GN, and golds. I actually have them marked up here. You guys can go to get a sneak peek. Like I said, I trade GU most of the time. I really love the S&P 500 when it comes to indices. I trade golds quite often. I also trade UCAD and US 30, but honestly, the pairs that you guys see marked, those are pretty much the only pairs that I trade. Everything else, right? I've traded a lot of stuff, throughout the years. But overall, I like to keep it small. GN is great. If I trade a New Zealand news, I'll trade GN. But yeah, I pretty much stick to that. But yeah, that's pretty much my gold breakdown. Again, I have necessarily a lot of setups for you guys going into London? Not really. Like, the market's traded one way this week. So now we just want to see how Wednesday's going to play out. But let's look at UCAD, right? We got some news in the morning, right? What could this be showing us? Oh, let me go to the GU chart I got in the chat from my man Malik. Perfect. So we got gold on the 1 minute. Cool. I didn't go into the 1 minute price action, but we will. Cool. So love it. So check it out. So what has our man done, right? He's showing us, some Asian session price action, right? What do we see over here, right? We had low, low, low. What do we do? One candle sweep the lows. Evidence of market trading higher, right? What does it do? It sweeps the lows and immediately sweeps the highs, right? Market comes and tries to trade back into the insufficient price action, but doesn't quite get there and ultimately leaves a pool of money right here, right? So what does market do? Market trades up, let it do its thing. And now that the market's slowly triggering back down, right? It could literally just trade back down until London or whatever it may be. But now, right, you take a entry at the open of that candle, stop up underneath the low, whether it's the bodies or whether it's the wicks. And again, risking 13 to take the highs is going to be high probability. So I love this setup. And it's pretty much just being patient and waiting for it to get there, right? So let's go ahead and just look at it here as well. Right, so again, right, we got this nice little imbalance here. You wait for that setup, boom, boom, could take it higher. And again, if it doesn't get here, it could just trade down, trade here, trade up here, and then kind of go from there. But love it. Let's look at UCAD. right? Weekly, obviously it's going to look a lot like the dollar index, bearish, bearish, right? We're actually coming into an area that has lots of lows, interesting enough. So it looks like we definitely got some areas to attack when it comes to UCAD, and this is super cool. Look, so it's like we have all these lows hanging out right here, and then we got a very interesting candle right here. Right now, the reason why I say it's interesting is we see like small skippings in price, right? It's like this is where one day closed and that next week opened down here. So there's a lot of just insufficient price action going on within this candle. So it makes sense to build up liquidity at an area like this before we come trade into this candle, right? As we look to the upside, pretty much nice clean retracements, right? We've talked about this on previous Zooms, right? We have this area here as an imbalance, but do we need to get up there? Not really. We've been pretty bearish. Whoops. We've been pretty bearish on it. So let's look at the daily, right? For the daily, right, there's nothing to work with to the downside. Everything's pretty much going to look at the same. We have that pool of liquidity. You guys can see that skip of price that I was talking about. Skip, trades back up. So overall, I would really just want to be looking for how it reacts inside of here. Now, again, you may not see anything on a daily, but on a smaller time frame, there might be something in here telling a different story, right? This is a matter of 135 pips, right? So we're going to see what's good with this later on. Let's go find price now. Coming off a very bullish day, right? What did we have? We had a nice little, stop here, move up. And I also got to say this, right? The dollar index didn't have the cleanest turnaround, right? Look at this. This was not the cleanest turnaround by any means whatsoever. This bullishness kind of just happened, right? There's no nice schematic. There's nothing crazy like that, right? It literally just happened. And that's why if you didn't position yourself, then I know some people are just, kind of missing out on this because it just didn't show its true colors from the jump. But, either way, I just wanted to show the reference there. Right? So market just goes ahead and trades back up, respects that bigger time frame liquidity. What could we possibly be searching for, right? What we just did was take all of these days of highs, right, with just Asian sessions price action, right? If we want to move a little bit higher, there's nothing that, right, there's not even an imbalance till we get up here. So again, I'm not really for major bullish price action. Look at that 50%, 3,500. But I'm not really for major bullish price action. So let's go ahead and look what we got on a 4-hour time frame. Right, so as we look to the downside, right, pretty fluent. And again, it wasn't the cleanest. Why? Because we fell down. We created that candle that quickly traded up above, and we left this imbalance. But look, we didn't come trade back into that candle. We only traded probably about 50% of this move to this move, right? So didn't get the deepest retracement, left imbalance here, traded higher, right? Retraced back down into the open to 50% of that order block, right? And then now we've traded ultimately way higher for the week, taking these highs here, right? So again, when you look for downside retracements, right, we've been so bullish. It's like you could wait for, there's so much down here, right? There's so much down here to wait for on the bigger time frames. But price action was clean, right? Sell to buy, sell to buy, sell to buy, and now we've traded above the highs. And now as we come down the 4-hour, now we have something that we could look at before 3,500, right? What lies right above these highs that we just took and pretty much this high lying right here, right? we have an imbalance and an up candle. That's exactly what you want to search for. So now, and again, think about it, like this is 250 pips away. Does the market need to do that this week? No. It would make a lot more sense for the market to maybe move 80 pips Wednesday, Thursday, and then go ahead and show some kind of short-term reversal. We already went over GU. I'm not sure if you hopped in late. We'll definitely share a little bit. It's also recorded, so you can catch it tomorrow, right? But again, just make sense of it, guys, right? Like 80 pips sounds a lot more doable Wednesday, Thursday, Friday than 250 pips, right? So we have a institutional candle, we have a nice imbalance, and we have liquidity. Perfect. Right? Everything else is clean right above this. And look, even above this imbalance, there's nothing for us to play until we get there. So all makes sense. Go down to the hour. Let's go ahead and look left just to show you guys. Right? Look at the 50% of that 4-hour imbalance lines up with a buy to sell candle. So probably playing that candle will be your best bet at 32.90. As we go ahead and look at prices to the downside, if you wanted to buy this up for any reason, right? And I'm not saying, right, like there are people tonight, retail traders that will buy this right now and literally make money and say, oh, all the institutional guys didn't make money last night. You know what I mean? And like, that's cool. You just, again, let them make their money. I'm going to wait for them to get to the institutional levels, right? I'm going to wait for a pullback into this imbalance, right? I want to wait for a pullback into this. And if I don't get it, then I don't get it and I wait for a setup. Perfect. Yeah, Samad, go ahead and check your settings if you can. I'm pretty sure everyone else has been able to hear me pretty well so far. Just make sure you've joined the audio and everything, brother. But does that make sense to you guys? Like, I'm literally not interested in UCAD unless it pulls back into one of these 15-minute imbalance areas. This is obviously a really nice one, right? We see that beautiful sell action below the lows into the imbalance, right? Look at this. We got our highs, right? We sweep our highs, we trade down below our lows, and ultimately into this imbalance about the 50%, and then go ahead and continue the market up, right? So as we look through all of here, right, we obviously have this, but hey, if we wanted to come dip below this, right around 3,200, right, this is where I would look at this and say, all right, we're at 32.36, right? We had this nice rejection off the 50 level, right? 32.50. So this market wanted to trade down near 3,200 again, right? Could I possibly use a short stop here? Maybe have to enter a little earlier than 3,200, maybe like a 32.06, right? And possibly target those higher trades again, like. And this is the thing. Let me stop for a sec because we've been going in for about 55 minutes real quick. For everybody that's still here, I've been going through, some transitions myself. And what my plan is, right, is to give you all as much as possible when it comes to mentorship over YouTube, right? I want to give everything to YouTube, to Zoom calls, to the Telegram chat. For you guys to take away. I personally don't think I am going to, mentor anybody one-on-one for the rest of the year, but we all learn and trade together through YouTube along with our other mentors, and we all do it. I'm not here to give you guys trade setups, but if you look and study my charts, you can see that, basically we're talking about, what I should say is like during London session, I'm not necessarily going to tell you guys, hey, I'm buying GU right now, but you guys can see right now the 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1 ratios that the institutional setups give, right? And it's not my job to press the buttons for you guys, right? I believe it's just my job to share this information with you so you can make your own decision. I didn't learn this stuff, right, when I gave the market thousands of dollars, right, my first whatever X amount of years, right? So I know this could help you guys too. So overall, I want to see if UCAD could push up into those levels. You know, when it comes to this 5 minute, right? Now that I come down to the 5 minute, hey, if you don't want to wait for this lower price action, right? What do? Enter off this down candle, throw a stop below this low. You're entering at 17, you're stopping out at 10. That's a 7-pip stop. What are you going to target? The highs, right? What are you going to target? Maybe the imbalance that lies here, right? You need to scale once you take these trade setups. Everybody wants to talk about trade management and when to get in and when to get out and entries. Look, this is a 4-to-1 ratio. You are going to watch the market trade down here, go into your entry, and then it's going to trade up here into this old area. You're going to be up 20 pips. You're not going to scale at all. And the market's going to pull back down and stop you out before it makes these highs and trades into this imbalance. Or you wait for the market to trade above these highs, and then you move your stop. Took the UCAD trade yesterday. My first successful trade based on setups I learned. Rafi, awesome, brother. I'm glad you're able to take away from that. UCAD again had some nice buy setups. You know, if that's what you were looking for and you were able to position yourself in one. You know, as we look through, you know, these are all a little bit choppy, but even here, right? What time was this? Oh, that's late. I forget I'm on the 5 minute, but either way, that's really what I know. I got a lot going on the screen here. Oh, don't do all that. But that's what you want to be looking for. Look for these order blocks, right? Throw your stop up underneath the low, and you pretty much trade it from there. And again, if you're bullish, right, that gives you, you know, those extra confirmations to go ahead and run that market higher. So I would love to see this market go ahead and just continue higher, running these highs, see if we can get into these imbalances, maybe around 3,300. Outside of that, let me see. Let me check the chat. So other than GU and gold and UCAD, I really don't look at a lot of other majors. I don't really trade EU because I trade GU. I don't really trade UJ. I don't really trade NU or USHEF. But if you guys want, go ahead and drop some pairs in the chat. Go ahead and drop some charts in the chat. We could take a look at a couple things. I'll go ahead and skim through just a couple pairs, see if anything's got good setups. Right, when it comes to UJ, I don't see any significant buying opportunities, right? Wicks, no imbalance. Wicks, no imbalance. Wicks, no imbalance. I really don't see any good buy opportunities. We have this here. So I would pretty much just see if we could probably let that market trade higher and maybe, you know, get in somewhere in a markup. But I don't know why that's fallen. UJ, so this is falling because of the yen. This isn't playing the dollar right now. But that's why I don't really look at UJ. Take a look at EU. Wow, super ugly. Yeah, I hope you haven't taken any trades on EU. Just super consolidating here, guys. Nothing going on. We are literally loading up this pool of liquidity, right? We're literally just loading this thing up to come do what? Come dip into this little sell to buy area, right? So loading up right here to drop the dollar on EU, just like with GU. Probably going to be the same narrative with AU, right? So it looks like we may have had a short-term play off an institutional candle here, right? Look at this. Look at this. And look at entry, right? So it's like, look, like AU, if you're new to the markets, trade AU, right? It doesn't move fast. But look, I come to the chart, and what do we see? We see down candle, up move, imbalance. What does market do? It trades down into the open of that down candle right here at a whole price of 7,200, and now it's traded away from it, right? You throw a stop underneath the low at 71.88. That's literally a 12 pip stop. And what are you going to target? Right? Trade management. Let's walk through how you would have taken this trade. I'll go down to the 5 minute first. Market trades down into 7,200. You enter your buy position. You have a 12 pip stop. This is your first take profit area here, right? Second take profit area here because of the imbalance. And then third, it could either be these highs, it could be this imbalance. So that's what you want to look for, right? These are your targets, right? Liquidity pools, imbalances, right? So a nice little 12 pip stop to catch 16 on that one, 35 to 30 for your 3-to-1 ratio, right? 4-to-1, 5-to-1. So what happens when market comes and trades into our area there? What time was this at? Ew. Yeah, it was right here at 8 p.m. So market pretty much opened up, traded at 7,200 for a little bit, but overall, right, needed one last sweep down, which is fine because, again, you have your 12 pip stop in place. Last sweep down, and that's all it needed. It just needed to get some over leverage buyers out. Ultimately, we have that down candle. We have that play. We trade back up above 7,200. You see the beautiful respect, right? Order block down, buy off, order block down, buy off. And our respect off 7,200 was absolutely perfect. And what did we do? We first reached for these highs, right? And now you can expect the market to probably, right? What did we do? We closed out some of this imbalance. We could expect it to come trade back into there, but there was a short-term play there for AU off 7,200. If anybody had been looking at that. Beautiful. Honestly, I appreciate y'all. I know I just unshared my screen. I just wanted to kind of, be one-on-one with y'all here real quick. Go ahead and let me know. Did you guys find that helpful? I know I talk really fast, and we're gonna do it through YouTube. So I'm glad you guys loved it. Dean, King David, Kemboy, appreciate y'all. Just came in at the end, informative. Yeah, I'll have the recording up tomorrow. I really appreciate y'all's love when it comes to YouTube. I'm gonna be doing this more. Again, guys, be ready for me to really be all in with YouTube and helping you guys out. What my goals and my plans are is to not only record and drop like 2 to 3 videos a week. And, again, like ultimately, I'll let you guys know this too. I know everybody's here for institutional trading, but at the end of the day, like I'm here, I want to push a financial education channel. So I'm going to be working in more things. Are you considering a signal service? So I can go ahead and clear that one up right now. So that's actually exactly what I'm not going to be doing. So what I will not be doing is any signal services. I don't know if anybody, knows I for the past 2.5 years, right, I've been working closely with, signal services and everything. And as they are amazing, and I know that's how some people need it and this, that, and the other, I really want to train your guys' eyes for you to be able to do it. So me personally, I've sent out signals in the past, right? I've had mentorship. I've mentored, I've had up to 100 students at a time where I've, been, following along and keeping up with them and doing webinars, and I love it. And it's helped me grow so much. But I personally don't think I am going to do any one-on-one mentorship for, honestly, the rest of the year, right? There's so much for us to do over these next 3-4 months. And then going into 2021 is a different story. But again, I'm saying no personal mentorship, but that means I'm going to be on YouTube 2 to 3 times a week and also doing Zoom calls twice, even live streams on YouTube, right? So we're going to be together. But no, I entirely don't want to do a signal service. I'm not here to have a course, right? That's another thing I'm venturing out of. Like everything's on YouTube, and I really want to revolve around the idea that I could give you guys the information and you guys could take away from it there. So don't expect a $50 Telegram channel, right? Don't expect a subscription service or anything. That's really not what I want to do, right? I make whatever money, trading, other things, you know, YouTube, and you know, that's really what it's here for. So no signals from me. There's a lot of other people that can give signals, and I could point you their direction even. But me personally, I'd rather just sit here and give you guys the zones and talk about the zones and talk about, you know, how we feel throughout the trades and help you guys more through the trade management. It's something that's missed a lot. Um, yeah, I definitely appreciate you, Jarvez. I hope that's the way you pronounce your name. If you guys peep in the chat, right, you know, people pay, you know, lots of money for info like this. And, you know, again, that's how I know it is. And even 2 years ago when I found out about trading, I mean, I knew it was worth so much money. But again, like there's so much free information out there now that I almost just want to be a part of it and like blow it up even more. So we're going to see what's up. I'm excited to continue to do this with everybody. You know, again, always keep in mind, right? Look at your dollar index, know where that's going. It's going to help you with your other pairs. And if you don't position yourself perfect, right, go ahead and watch it play out and learn from it, right? You don't have to make loads of money coming into the market right away. Practice on small accounts. We're going to focus more on market structure. I got a lot of other videos coming, but we should go ahead and end this one. I'll have it up on YouTube in the morning. I'm going to make it a little intro for it. It's going to be an hour long, but you can come back and rewatch it and catch up on anything that you missed and send it out to anybody you think could benefit from it. So much love. I know I had everybody muted for this call, but in future calls, we'll have everybody open up. See how you analyze a chart, but a newbie like us, it's no, absolutely. And that's why it really just takes us, what's the minimum account I need to start? You could easily make 7% on your $50, right? But that's all you need to start an account for the most part. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. For everybody that stuck around, I know it was long. I know it's a lot of ranting, but apparently y'all love it. So it's lit. So much love. Let's get it. I'll have this up on YouTube tomorrow. And